Hey everybody, it's Will. I just wanted to go through a walkthrough of the new pins, the glider and slider. So I just want to go through how these pins actually work. So there's a bolt action. It's a little different from what other people are doing. Basically, it's just a sweeping motion. There's a little area down here at the bottom that sort of locks it in place when it's at the bottom position. Nothing fancy to it. After you play with it for a few seconds, it becomes really natural. The thing I want to talk about in this video is sort of how the pin works. So 2 inches from the very bottom, in the retracted position, 2 inches from the very bottom it comes apart. When it's put together, you can't see that seam. It's really funny to hand it to people and try to get them to figure out how it comes apart. Most of the time they'll always go to the back. The thing about these pins, and after a lot of consideration, I decided I'm actually using some Loctite thread locker for this back part and for this bolt. The reason basically is that you shouldn't need to take that off, and if you do, it's Loctite 222, which is like the easiest to remove of those. It's still gonna hold those parts together really well. The bolt is just threaded in, so that also has a tiny bit of Loctite on it. So those parts coming loose, it's just not gonna happen.
My man.
Alright, so the bolt and the back part are Loctited on. So to be able to get those off, I use, I guess, basically 3 tools. Rubber band, folded over paper towels, and vice grips. To take off the back part, you basically just adjust the vice grips to where they're slightly larger than the actual back of the pin. Here, let me get a shot of that. So it's slightly larger. Then you basically just wrap a paper towel over that. I've tried tons of different materials, a bunch of different rubber compounds, and I've actually just found that paper towels work the best to give, it transfers the grip from the vice grips onto the part, but it doesn't leave scratches. Make sure you fold the paper towel over, 6 or 8 times. 3 or 4 times. That was tight-ish, not quite tight enough. These back parts and the bolts are put on with Loctite 222, which is like the most easily removable thread locker that there is. It still ends up being fairly tight, so these back parts are just threaded on. There's not a whole lot of threads on that back part, so it just comes off. If you bend the clip, clips just come right out. Forgot, I need to use crescent wrench for that. If you need to rebend the clip, you basically just put it in, make sure that edge there, or that bend, is pushed in as far as you can, and then you just tighten the jaws on the wrench. And you just use the palm of your hand to basically add a little more in. You're not trying to create too much bend, because then the part or the clip won't basically just barely touch. You're trying to get it so that when the clip is inserted into the top, it touches the actual pin body, so there's a little bit of tension there. So back piece comes off. There will be a piece of some thread locker on those threads, so that this won't come off easily. The clip, I'm not going to take out the bolt and the interior part, but just so you know, that's what the interior part looks like. It's got threaded section, and then the interior is almost all drilled out. That's so that most refills can fit in it. So like, even, I guess one of the widest refills is the Schmidt P8127 and the 8126. They will fit in that. For the people that like, those will fit in the slider. There's a lot of questions about whether those will fit in short pins, and my pins definitely do take them because I really like that refill. Okay, so that's what the interior part looks like. The front part has an O-ring. The O-ring down here at the bottom, it just makes it so that when you do screw the pin together, it stays snug. I would recommend, no matter what, you still tighten that down pretty well. An O-ring helps, but it's never going to completely solve if you don't tighten it. So do put some torque on it. You're not going to hurt anything. All these threads are really, really strong no matter what material you've got. Let's see. So then there's spring inside. This is the glider, the longer model. So the glider takes standard. It comes with a Pilot G2 0.38 millimeter rack. But there are lots and lots and lots of refills that fit in there. Previous pins had this little plunger for the movers and shakers, and that little plunger had issues with a bunch of refills, including the Pilot Precise V5 and V7. So the plunger would get stuck down in the bottom there. Wouldn't work out great. Let's see, there are also a couple other, I think Schmidt makes a couple, Courant d'Arche, probably pronouncing that terribly. Alright, so before we cut for the AC to get turned off, it's a little too loud for the camera. There are some refills that have holes in the back that the plungers didn't work with. Plunger they wouldn't have anything to push against. So the cool thing with the interior bolt part is that anything that fits in there will work. There's no area that you have to create some false back to like you did on the movers and shakers. So really all you're worried about is length. And there's a lot of different things you can do. Say you have a glider, the longer pin, and you want to fit something else in that's a little bit longer. Some of these refills are, just below this video there will be a dimensioned image that basically shows how long some of the refills are, and some of them are 30 thousandths of an inch longer, which is usually not an issue. Some of them are substantially longer. So basically, if you want, you can trim those refills. I usually just use a sharp X-Acto knife. It's what I think is the easiest way to trim down a refill. Still a little bit dangerous, but those of you who are into modding refills, you understand how to do this. For the slider, all those refills will definitely fit in. All the refills that will fit in the glider, the longer model, will fit in the slider if you just cut half an inch off. They do use different springs, and right now, this is before the campaign. I'm doing this video. I'm probably going to include both the slider and the glider springs in both, no matter which we order. So if you want to switch around refills, it's totally easy. But the slider uses a longer, thinner spring, and that's basically just because the area that the spring pushes on these Parker style refills is further back, where the area that the glider pushes on is further forward, so it's a shorter spring. So there's lots of refills that people love. It's pretty easy to make a lot of them fit in.
Cool. Alrighty.
Thanks for watching the information on the glider and slider pins.